highly regarded, well thought of, as Nacho Beristain going for him, and a lot of people think this kid could be fighting for a title.
Right, and Marquez has to face these kind of stepping stones, these kind of trial horses. I think that, in fact, is the category where you'd have to put a Ulises Chong in right now. He hasn't been winning much. He still has fought some very good fighters, but he's a guy who, for example, he went the distance with Cobrita Gonzalez a couple of years ago. He goes the distance with almost everybody he fights with. He's lost a couple by KO, but you know, has had a pretty good chin down the year, and he's a veteran. He knows what he's doing in there.
One would certainly think so, and he does indeed. His record indicates that Marquez may have to be prepared to go the 10 rounds to get a win over him tonight, although one never knows. Marquez has got a pretty good wallop. He's got 10 knockouts out of 13 victories, and although one of those was against Wheeler, who's a step up in class, and against some of the better fighters he's met so far, why Marquez has had some problems.
Well, I didn't think that Marquez deserved to win that fight.
No, nor did I. Heavens no. In fact, I think we were almost a cause célèbre. We were shocked, really, at ringside to see that fight stopped when it was.
So I think he needs to show a little more, but I think he probably learned a lot in that fight. He fought a dancing master, a good boxer that night in Julian Wheeler, and he probably learned a lot about how to fight a boxer.
Well, Janito just ran into a solid left jab thrown by Marquez. Throws one of his own and gets nailed again with a solid left. Chuck Hassett, the third man in the ring.
This is actually a pretty fast start for Marquez. We have seen him oftentimes. He usually starts slow, but as the rounds go by, he usually picks things up. His punches get sharper, they get stronger, and he gets better as the fight wears on.
Was he not on the card in Vegas that we did when Barrera was on the same card that night? Was he on that
Against Eddie
card?
Cook, yes. And he fought Israel Gonzalez that night. And
destroyed him, didn't
in 4 rounds, and it was just a sensational performance. That was our first look at Juan Manuel.
Yep. He's only 22, talented youngster in the black trunks trimmed in red. Nacho Beristain, of course, one of the celebrated trainers. Very high in this young man's future, and when Beristain talks about fighters, most people listen.
I think there's a slight suspicion of blood, Tom, above the right eye of Chong. I saw him glance at referee Chuck Hassett, so maybe their heads came together. Looked a glance of complaint. They turned around. I thought I saw just a slight smear of blood above the eye.
Marquez has an interesting move, Rich. He kind of kick-starts himself. Picks up his left foot and jumps straight ahead with it, and then throws the left hand in unison with it. Round 1 coming to a close. We'll be back.
In round number 1, as the two came together, look at their heads smack. That was a pretty good collision of heads. It opened up a cut, and he was getting treated for it hot and heavily between rounds.
It is just above the right eye, probably in the right eyebrow, and it was bleeding pretty good. See how well his corner people were able to stem the flow of it. He's in the red trunks, Chong is, Janito, and Marquez is in the black trimmed in red. Chong has lost 5 in a row, and he's fallen on some barren ground of late. But he does take quality fighters a long distance. He's fought some of the best, the old good and bad. Bad news is he's lost to the best.
Yeah, so. But look at you're right about the best. As I mentioned, Cobrita Gonzalez, Marcos Villasana, Jesse Benavides.
Both of them were former featherweight champions. You know, I mean,
Giovanni Parisi, he lost to last year. Parisi will be facing off against the Sammy Fuentes here within the next few days.
They're going to fight, I guess, in Italy, if I'm not mistaken. And we may see Sammy Fuentes back here on the forum cards not too distant future. Nice crowd on hand tonight. And, of course, Yori Boy Campos brings out a nice crowd. He's a very popular fighter with the Hispanics. And they'll really be rooting him home, or trying to tonight, in his bout that'll be coming up in just a bit. Campos in against Collins.
Guys who can punch like Yori Boy figure to be popular anywhere.
Yeah, and he can punch. Marquez almost ran into a jolting uppercut, and he's got Chong obviously in trouble. Chong got hit and went down. He says, I slipped. Well, he got hit a couple of times.
Yeah, his knee was doing a bend, and he got hit.
Uppercut right on the point of the chin of Marquez just prior to that, then got nailed
quite stiffened up. Chong's did after that last left hook of Marquez.
Marquez trying to finish him off. Working to the body now. Round 2, just about a half-minute remaining.
Marquez looks a little like Bobby Chacon in there.
Yeah, he does.
Tom, you take a look at him.
Great facial resemblance, yeah. No question about it, the newsboy. Notice how he kind of raises that left foot, Rich, and jumps at you when he throws that jab.
Yeah, that may not be, he's telegraphing it, Tom.
Indeed he is.
By doing that, and someone may be able in the future to time that move if he doesn't get rid of it.
It seems to be a very obvious flaw. Of course, you find yourself looking at his feet, you may be eating a punch. Round 2. Very interesting round. Chong goes down. It'll be a 10-8 if you're scoring it. We follow Chong back to his corner. Barajas, rough, Martin Chong. There's another look back.
All right, round 2 action now. There's the uppercut by Marquez, but look at how he ran right into that punch. Good shot of it right there. That's a solid shot by Juan Marquez. No doubt that's a real knockdown. There was no slip there, no fluke about that.
No question about it. He threw an uppercut that just did miss. And Marquez came back and nailed him with one that did not miss. That's Nacho Beristain there, talking to his young fighter.
Yeah, I like Nacho's style in the corner, Tom. It's very calm and collected. A little bit of instruction for his fighter, and that's enough.
Well, the kid's a pretty good piece of talent, Rich Rod. I don't know what more you can tell him, except don't pick up your left foot so high when you're going to throw that jab. Round number 3. Chong went down in the second. Threw an uppercut, missed, got nailed with one. Went to his knees. They've done a pretty good job on that cut over his right eye, Rich. It's not... Oh, he ran into another stiff left hand, did Chong.
Yeah, and this is exactly what I told you about with Marquez. The punches get sharper, they get harder with each succeeding round. I like that in a young fighter. I don't want to see a fighter who, shoots his wad in the first couple of rounds, Tom. I like seeing a guy who keeps getting better and better and better as the fight wears on, and that Marquez fills that niche.
And in the confidence department, Marquez is obviously taking a big step up. He knows he can hit this guy, knows he can hurt him, knows he can knock him down. And all in all, things are going nicely for Marquez. He's in the black and Chong is in the red.
Marquez looks very focused tonight, Tom, and I think he wants to make amends for what he felt was a subpar effort in that fight against Julian Wheeler.
Well, he got a very lucky call, no question about it, in that fight, and was able to come away with a victory, and a lot of people kind of questioned whether or not he deserved it.
It's a good right hand. Tom, Chong really snuck that one in on the youngster.
He did indeed, and Marquez is making him pay for it as he swarms all over him.
Marquez is doing his best work after he gets tagged.
Well, in that regard, he's kind of like Felix Trinidad. Speaking of Yori boy Campos, Campos made the mistake of decking Trinidad, and from that point on, Trinidad really said to himself, I didn't come in here for a haircut. This is going to be a fight.
Yeah, but that was a great display of the power of Yori boy. Just that little punch, putting Trinidad down like that.
Chong was rubbing at his left eye a moment ago as if it might be cut. He had a cut over the right eyebrow that they've done a pretty good job with. We're in round number 3. He was knocked down in round number 2. It's scheduled for 10. Chong catches another solid right, gets jabbed with the left, and that left eye has now, looks like it's beginning to swell up rather badly, Rich. Under the eye, it's puffed up, and I don't know what there might be a light cut over
Yeah, there's a little bit of blood over there, Tom, splattered around. I think Marquez is looking very impressive tonight.
Yep.
Really much, much better than he did in his last bout.
Round number 3 coming to a close. So far, it's been nothing but the boy from Mexico City. We'll be back in a moment.
3. Take a look at that uppercut. That uppercut has been the big ticket tonight for Juan Manuel Márquez. He scored a knockdown with it in round 2 and stunned Ulises Chong in the 3rd round as well. There's been a slight delay starting the 4th round because the doctor came in between rounds, so they called timeout while the doctor went over to take a look at Chong in the corner. That's why
they aren't stopping the fight. He's going to be allowed to continue. He does have, remember?
Well, that left eye is swelling up, Tom. You're right. That thing's swelling up fast.
Yeah, it's all but closed. Left eye. There's the bell. And out they come now for round number 4. And one would think that Chong's going to have to catch a miracle. Lightning in a bottle, so to speak. He's going to have to nail Marquez and put him away, or this fight will not be going much longer. That left eye is just about slam shut.
He did land a couple of pretty solid shots, did Chong, in that 3rd round, but his problem was that each time he landed a big one, Marquez would answer right back.
Well, he hit him with the right hand there that Marquez took in stride, barely moved his head at all, just took the punch and continued to move in toward Chong. Chong's in the red, Marquez in the red and black. Black trunks trimmed in red. Marquez is 7 years younger. Not nearly as experienced as Chong, but he's got a very good record. The fine knockout percentage mark of 10 KOs and 13 wins. The resemblance to Bobby Chacon is remarkable, Rich.
Yeah.
Marquez has really had his way with Chong. He's taken some pretty good shots from Chong, but they've been the type that have not affected him, or at least outwardly. He's knocked Chong down with a couple of solid punches. An uppercut has been a dandy.
If you're wondering about Marquez's only defeat in his record, it came in his pro debut back in May of 1993. He was disqualified after a headbutt in a fight with Javier Duran in Mexico. Since then, all wins. He's going to get another one right now.
Yeah. He got hit with the right hand, and he came right back, and he put Chong down, and Chuck Hassett is stopping this fight here in round number 4.
Well, did you see the pained expression on Chong's face? He was in real distress there.
Yeah. And he landed a pretty good right hand just prior to catching a ton of leather that ended up with him sitting on the back of his lap. He's right down on the canvas in front of us sitting there. And the doctor's in checking him over. He really took him. Had really a look of anguish, obvious pain on his face.
And Tom, this is the 4th, or it still has it on it. In fact, this is the 4th or 5th fight we've seen and done and called of Juan Manuel Márquez. I think this is the most impressive we've seen him since that first fight when we saw him beat Israel Gonzalez in 4 rounds up at Caesar's Palace. He's developing now. And let's take a look here at the end of the fight, Tom. There's that right hand by Chong, but again, Marquez answers right back. It's amazing every time. And look at that right hand, and Chong is done. You can see right there, he's finished.
Yeah. And indeed, after throwing and landing a punch of his own and getting one and then a couple more in return, why Chong obviously was feeling a great deal of pain. Marquez wins it. They're still checking Chong over, but he's going to be all right. We'll be back to find out about Marquez. Fernando's climbing into the ring. We'll hear from both of them right after we hear about this important announcement. Welcome back to the Great Western Forum. Rich Murata and I may be the only 2 guys standing at the end of the night's work, where everybody's getting knocked out. Very impressive win for Marquez as he wins a knockout over Chong in the 4th round. Jimmy Lennon Jr.'s got the official call. Jimmy, if you will.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time of 1 minute 42 seconds in round number 4. Our referee in charge, Chuck Hassett, stops the contest. He's the winner by way of knockout, Juan Manuel Márquez.
So the talented youngster from Mexico City runs his record to 14-1. That means 14 straight victories and now 11 knockouts. And he has more than convinced everybody that he indeed is a very talented, tough young fighter.
Tom,
Fernando Paramo is up, Rich is up in the ring with Juan Marquez. Let's go to Fernando, if you will, please.
Thank you, Tom. Juan Manuel, this is not an easy fight. This is not an easy fighter that you would just beat. Esta no es una pelea fácil, no es un peleador fácil al que enfrentaste.
Sí, yo lo sabía que no era un peleador fácil y había que demostrar las 14 peleas y un poco de experiencia que tengo y habría que demostrarlo aquí en el ring hoy para seguir adelante.
He says that yes, in fact, he knew that this was not an easy fight or an easy fighter, and that he had to show something on the fact that why he's won 14 in a row. Tell us what is going on the fight. Dile lo que está pasando en la pelea.
Ahí me agarró una derecha bastante sólida, pero lo levanté de un upper.
He said that he was connected there, but he was able to come back with a good uppercut.
Se fue, estaba mal, se cayó por la cortada que tenía en la ceja y ya fue cuando el referee paró la pelea.
He said that he was already out of it. That's when the referee stepped in and stopped it. What happens now for you? ¿Qué es lo que pasa ahora? ¿Qué es lo que piensas hacer?
Pues seguir, llegar a entrenar al gimnasio y seguirnos preparando para una pelea. Yo pienso que entre más duros vienen más duros y seguirse preparando mejor para seguir cosechando triunfos.
He says that as soon as he gets back to Mexico, is going right back in the gym. He says that he expects tougher and tougher opposition for a possibility of a world title. When will this world title fight take place? ¿Cuándo esperas tú una pelea por el título?
Pues ahorita no hay que correr, hay que caminar poco a poquito, buscar la clasificación, ir agarrando un poco más de experiencia y esperar una pelea por el título.
He says that there's no hurry. He wants to get experience every single time, and hopefully he'll get it soon enough. Back to you guys.
All right, Fernando, thank you. Our congratulations to Marquez. Very impressive tonight as he wins his 14th and 13th in a row. We'll be back with more Great Western Forum, and Fight Night at the Forum continues in a moment. It's a thing of beauty next.